Welcome to the Two Act Podcast, where we talk about all things movies, TV, and anime. I'm one of your co-hosts, gothjon, and as always, I have Adi here with me, and we are going to cover a double feature this time. And coincidentally, we both watched the drama. I don't remember who directed it, but apparently he's a gross guy. Adi, what did you think of the drama?
Yeah, I mean, interesting watch. I like the actors, Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. I think Robert Pattinson's had quite the renaissance with his career since the Twilight days. Like I like how he's always like challenging himself and doing different roles. And yeah, the drama is an interesting one because it looks like a cute rom-com. At least it's
Something
kind of
like
like
that. Doesn't play
got
like
that.
that.
No, it doesn't play like that. So yeah, I like how subversive the film was
Mm-hmm.
with the rom-com genre. It's something fresh and
Right.
unexpected than what you usually get with
And
rom-com.
what was up with Robert Pattinson's hair? What the fuck? The
Do you know
guy.
what? I think that's just I just think that's his natural look. Like he
Okay.
just has a
It's just like
messy
he
look.
fell out of bed.
Yeah, yeah. He's just got bad hair at all
Yeah.
times, playing this awkward Brit. He's pretty awkward in real life too. But I think it's
Yeah.
a
I've
very
seen some Twilight interviews that were pretty awkward.
yeah. Although I think he did a lot of press with this movie, so
Hmm.
he seemed quite invested in it.
All right.
Yeah, produced by A24, directed by Christopher Borgli, produced by Ari Aster, who horror fans in the house would know. So yeah, I mean, made on a budget of 28 million, fairly straightforward movie set in, believe it's set in
It's like New York, isn't it?
New York, isn't it? No, it's Cambridge,
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Okay. It's still East Coast. I figured it was
Yeah,
East Coast.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
Set
didn't
in
really plan
Massachusetts.
on covering the drama, but since we both saw it, I went to the movie theater with my girl, and there wasn't a lot of good movies at the movie theater right now where I'm at. We didn't want to watch the Mario movie because we heard that wasn't very good. Uh, we didn't want to see some Shudder horror film that didn't sound good, and I was really against seeing Ready or Not 2 in the theater. That sounded like more of like a Netflix and chill type of film. So we went to see the drama. I like Zendaya. I liked her in Euphoria. I also like her in the Spider-Man movies, and obviously
Dune.
everybody knows. Yeah. Oh yeah, Dune. That too. She's good in that.
He's in Dune too. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. She's got some really striking contacts in Dune.
yeah. They all do. Originally, speaking of movies, I think you're right. It's kind of been an awkward phase. Like it's always that awkward time of the year from the new year into spring,
Mhm.
slowly kicking into summer
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
Um,
Red Letter Media calls it "fuck you, it's January" type of movies where you get.
yeah, this is dry Jan vibes. But
Yeah, it really is.
I originally wanted to review Project Hail Mary,
Yep.
which I'm sure moviegoers or like avid cinema goers would be aware of. It's done really well. It's already made like 500 million. It's based on a book, novel. Stars Ryan Gosling. Just want to give it a shout out because I watched it in IMAX. I really liked the movie. Was originally gonna pick it to review for this episode, but I saw there was so many people talking about it. I was like, we can maybe skip it. In fact, I remember a friend of mine talk about listening to another podcast talk about it, and I don't know why it just gave me the ick. So I was like,
Okay.
you know what? We'll cover something else.
Yep. Yeah, we'll
But
pivot.
the drama is a good one. The drama is a good one.
It was.
I've been meaning to do a rom com for a while, so
Yeah. It
I'm
was.
glad that
I
it's
don't know if I'd necessarily call it rom com, but it is kind of in that genre. It's more like a dramedy, like a dramatic comedy in
yeah,
the sense.
yeah.
So, spoiler alert for the drama. If you don't want to be spoiled, stop at this time code and go crazy. So you find out like way late in the movie. Well, I guess not way late. So in the trailer, they're revealing like the worst thing they ever did. Like they're at a wine tasting and they're just hanging out. And what Zendaya says like blows everybody else out of the water of what the worst thing they ever did. And she's drunk and honest about it. And you find out like she planned a school shooting when she was a teenager. And in
Yeah.
America, that is really real.
Oof.
If you've ever know anybody that's been in one of those, it's the worst possible thing that could happen at school. But as a, like a teenager, she was treated very poorly. She was bullied, and she fell into that femcel like rabbit hole and got her dad's gun and was practicing shooting, and that's how she went deaf in one of her ears. I could definitely relate with a lot of that.
It's a pretty dark reveal because the
Yeah.
movie starts off in this cute rom-com Hollywood way where, this guy, he's awkward. Robert Pattinson plays this Brit called Charlie, who works at a museum as a curator, and he's in a coffee shop and he sees Zendaya and he's like instantly drawn to her. And it's kind of creepy in a way because he's like, I don't want to say he's stalking her, but he's definitely got his eye on her and he sees
Well,
she's like at the
he's
cafe drinking coffee, listening to music, reading a book, and he wants to muster up the courage to go and talk to her. And when he gets a moment, he manages to like take a picture of the book she's reading so that he can like come up with something to strike up a conversation. I really like that because I think like we've all done that at some point, wanted to
right.
impress the other person and
Yeah.
like,
Right.
wanted
Or you'll
to
do a
lean into
little bit of cyber
yeah, you
stalking
want to
so you can
you want to
figure out what they're into.
you want to tap into their likes and interests and see how it matches with yours, but in this case he's like totally like he's falling for her, and then he actually tries to like. I want to bring this scene before we go into the dark reveal because it's a really cute scene and it's
Mhm.
really wholesome. Plays off super awkwardly because like he tries to strike up a conversation about the book, but she like literally pays no attention to him, and he thinks she's like
She's giving like cold
avoiding him.
shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Until she realizes that he's trying to talk to her because she's deaf
Right.
in one ear and she's got music playing in the other, so she couldn't hear him speak at all. And when she realizes that he's trying to talk to her, he's like,
And
"Oh,
all
can you
the
just like,
other patrons in the coffee shop are giving him like the look like you need to
yeah,
leave this woman, the poor woman alone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I can definitely understand that because like trying to cold approach a woman you don't know can be
oh,
kind of awkward because you're in a situation where women are naturally afraid of men they don't know because they're unknown. You know, they could have
yeah."
ulterior motives. They could do all sorts of fuck shit. You
Well,
never
it's
know.
kind of a six dad world. You never know.
Yeah, and it really
Um,
is. You know, you have people taking advantage of other people, and then usually that type of stuff will happen more at a nightclub, not at a coffee shop. But you know, you
true,
never
true.
know. Somebody might slip something into your coffee. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but what's interesting about this is like I've actually read, I've seen like interviews and I've read about women talking about how like men don't approach them as much anymore. They feel like they don't get approached as much by men.
right.
But you're right. If you look at the other side, I think it's a terrifying thing as well from like a male point of view. I
Yeah,
think the shift in like just the culture and society, a lot of men are like less likely to go. I think I read a crazy stat like, men under 50, like there's a sharp decline on the amount of men who've never even gone on dates
mhm,
before. So it's like, yeah, I think it's pretty like telling and reflective
right. And then you have
of
that
today.
that sect of involuntary celibate or incel type of individuals, and you
Yeah.
know, I can definitely relate with that because you know I didn't from high school, I dated girls, but you know, once I graduated high school, you know, your social circle becomes smaller, and straight up didn't date for like 10 years. And that's not because of lack of trying. It's just, you know, if you're, unless you're wealthy or conventionally attractive, it becomes a lot easier and you have a lot of like charisma and, you know, if you have that Adonis DNA, I guess, for lack of a better term, you know, it makes it a lot easier to you know, girls are less likely to reciprocate your advances if, you know, you're not any of the type of things that they like, you know, somebody who's fit, somebody who's, you know, that likes the same stuff they do or, you know, artsy fartsy or whatnot. But you fall into that inceldom, and it becomes a vicious cycle where you're you say, well, fuck women because, women don't pay me any attention. And then it feeds into itself. And then you get with a bunch of like minded guys online. And then you're all a part of this like fuck women brigade. And it, it gets even worse. And then you get depressed and all that stuff. And then that's where that school shooter shit comes from. Nobody's paying you any attention and you don't have any friends. And then you just get into this depression spiral. And then you just get mad. And then you get so mad and you don't know where to put that rage, and it turns into, hopefully a creative outlet or, something that's not destructive like drugs or something like that. But,
Destructive to yourself or to society. But I think
exactly,
what's interesting in this film is that it goes into like the female point of view when it comes to this, because like the movie could have easily just shown Charlie in that light, right? I think
absolutely.
it's interesting the movie does the opposite, right?
Pretty Zendaya, she was the one played by a completely different actor as a kid. And she did all right. I don't think the acting in the drama is an issue. Maybe it's a little too long, or maybe there's some like pacing problems. But a lot of the cinematography is very interesting. There's a lot of like cut shots to like her past, or something you're not necessarily sure if it's real or it's happening, because
Mhm.
Zendaya's character, like has like depression, she has like social anxiety, she has all these things. In fact, when I was watching it with my girlfriend, she was like, I completely understand her character, and she was telling me, John, you're exactly like how Robert Pattinson would be. You'd be like try to be self assuring and try to comfort her and not know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's every relationship kind of goes through moments like that where, you get tested and
Exactly.
your natural instinct is to want to like, be there and care
Exactly.
and protect. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
when he's in that later in that wine tasting, and he hears that she planned a school shooting and didn't go out through with it, he is there for her and he's like, no, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like he's trying to like relate to her. And then like one of her other friends is completely put off, and she's the matron of honor. She's like the maid of honor.
we got to
And
set the
yeah,
scene. So basically, what happens in the scene is Charlie and his best friend, whose wife appears to be the maid of honor, I
yep,
think Rachel, and her husband Mike. They're good friends with Charlie and Zendaya's character Emma, and they're having this wine tasting for the marriage in this venue that they plan to have the marriage reception or whatever. And they all start like playing this drinking game because that's usually what happens when you start drinking. And they they talk about what's the worst thing you ever did or whatever. And it's super seamless, it
yep,
doesn't feel. What I like about the writing is it doesn't feel in your face, or it doesn't feel like, oh, I can see that from a mile away.
right,
In fact, the good thing about it is how naturally it becomes more unsettling as it goes along. What starts off as a joke gets more and more like like absurd and unsettling to watch. And like I wanted to bring up the things they discuss, because like I think Mike's character says he used his ex girlfriend as a human shield
yeah, getting
during
attacked
dog
by a
attack.
dog. Yeah,
And Rachel, the maid of honor played by Alana Haim, says she locked her slow childhood neighbor kid in a closet overnight
hmm,
and didn't tell the cops because he ended up being discovered before it was like a day or whatever.
all right,
And then Charlie, Robert Pattinson's character, says he cyberbullied a classmate so bad that the boy's family moved away. And they're all laughing about this. They're all
all
laughing
right,
about this. But when Emma, Zendaya's character, hesitantly reveals that when she was 15, she planned to commit a school shooting and partially lost her hearing when she held a rifle too close to her ear while practicing shooting, and then, you know, was didn't go through with it because she actually, you know, saw like was around when a real shooting happened, a mass shooting that happened to happen in her school or a nearby school, and that completely put her off. That's when
Yeah.
everyone's shocked, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
I can
the where do you
definitely
draw the
relate
line?
with that because so Columbine massacre happened before I was in high school, but I became like really obsessed with the two perpetrators of that massacre because
Yeah.
they were like me, you know, they were nerdy video game playing Marilyn Manson listening to, you know, teenagers.
Mm.
So it really didn't like come to terms with me like how like fucked that whole situation was until I played a video game called Super Columbine Massacre RPG. And because I played that game,
Oh my
you
god.
commit the murders like it's like Final Fantasy, and
Oh.
it's so fucked. So the whole time I'm playing this game, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting revenge on the cheerleaders and fuck them. And then, you know, once you get to the end of the game, it's just not even the end of the game. It's like the halfway point. You get to the part where they kill themselves in the cafeteria, like, or in the library. It becomes real. And once it becomes real, I got that like pit in my stomach, and I start to realize it's just like, this
Sickening,
really
isn't
happened. And this is so like fucked up that I like not necessarily like worshiped them. I just like I idolized them in a way because they were like me and they got revenge on the jocks. But because that I realized that it was real, it really became like a realization like, hey, school shootings, they're awful. Their people get hurt, they die, and they adversely affect people's mental states, the people that survive, and that it's not something to, you know, put on a pedestal. It's not something to think good of. You know, it's something inherently evil. And it took me like just growing up a little bit as a teenager to like understand that and go, okay, this is wrong. And her character, she also sees that because she
Yeah.
sees, you know, all the other students in her high school where they're all going, they're sad, they're all crying, they're all sad, they don't know how to deal with, you know, a school shooting. But it isn't necessarily like a school shooting. I think it was like a mall shooting, but the her
Yeah.
character, she even says a mass shooting is any more than three people that get hurt.
4, yeah, I think it needs to be
Yeah.
4 to be
Yeah.
considered a mass
Or
shooting. But I, you know, I think your point, I think it says a lot about how disturbed certain youth are and the lack of help available to them
mm,
because, you know, like a lot of these kids who end up doing stuff like this, they don't even know what they're doing. They're not in
no,
the right frame of mind.
not
And I think, yeah, it says a lot about how like desensitized society is and like how yeah, the lack of help available. Obviously, it doesn't justify what they end up doing, but it is a very like yeah, it's very polarizing to see
mm,
like, and it says a lot about like yeah, you know I think it's a sharp criticism on gun violence and gun control and how these things clearly shouldn't be available
no,
or
no.
shouldn't, you know, they
And
shouldn't be access for young people to like have,
no.
you know, assault
And
rifle.
it's sad because if I was a teenager and I had an easy access to, you know, like a 30 round magazine, like AK-47 or like an M4 or something like that, I could easily have seen myself going down that road and not knowing what I'm doing, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's not necessarily that violent video games cause, you know, school shootings, but there is a direct correlation to, you know, media in general, just glorifying, you know, all these things and saying, you know, the school shooter's first, middle, and last name, you know, they're making them a pariah, you know, that, and then for some of those kids, it's making them a martyr. And
yeah,
you don't have the counselors that are there stopping these things from before they happen. You know, there's a reason why it happens as much as it does. And, you know, it's only a matter of time until the next big one happens. Sad. It's just nobody cares enough about gun control.
yeah. And you know what? I actually applaud the movie for like wanting to pick such a divisive, such a you know polarizing topic to center its story around, because it takes a lot of guts to do this. A lot. I don't see how this is an easy pitch to make, and then on top of that, to have two movie stars play the characters in this.
Mhm.
So I think it's quite a, and of course A24. So you gotta hand it to them for still wanting to, like, challenge themselves and pick edgy stuff that no other traditional Hollywood studio would want to touch a story like this. But I think this is like the main focal point of the story, because this conversation completely disrupts everything, like the status quo for, like, this marriage, this relationship, friendship, because, like, the maid of honor, I believe her name's Rachel, she gets immediately upset by this because her cousin, I believe, was paralyzed in a shooting, in a school mass shooting. So
Took it
it
personally,
it
and
took it
you
personally,
can
but it changes how you view someone who you care about, I
right
think.
because you think that they could have done that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Or
she takes it so seriously, like she takes it as that she perpetrated it.
yeah, yeah. As good as actually
And
gone through with it.
I don't think you can really blame her because school shootings aren't, they're not a laughing matter.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And it's a very intense moment in what was meant to be played for, like, laughs or jokes, just
Yeah.
sharing something stupid you did maybe. But they really take it to the net. Like, she really actually does it. Like, she reveals probably her darkest secret that she may have never shared. But it's like, when you look at her character, she's so, like, I don't know, innocent,
Right.
or
You
like
wouldn't
seems,
suspect that she would be that type. Like
yeah,
when
you
you see her
wouldn't.
as a kid, she's all gothed up. She has a shitload of eyeliner on and she's recording videos for after the shooting.
But you do see how she's treated at school.
Right.
She's bullied. She has
Right.
no help. None of her parents consult her in her childhood. There's
Because
no
they're
scene.
not home. They're just
They're
not
not
home.
home. They're not home, or whatever, she's not receiving the care and attention she needs at that age, which is such a sensitive age, because it's literally, you know, period in school is when you're actually, like, learning about a lot of stuff of life. And, like, yeah, it actually it's not like, it's not like something that's just told. You actually see it. You actually see the treatment she receives. Now, that doesn't justify her intent to do it, but I think it makes for a very compelling, like, character. Like, you can see why it's uncomfortable. The fact that she could have gone down that dark path which she steps into, but doesn't fully
Right.
fully go
She
go through
plans,
with
but
it.
she doesn't do it.
Yeah, she doesn't do it, and I think it affects. It's interesting because it's about. I think the movie is also about, like, in a way, it's also about judging people, right? And I think the scene before that, they're just walking in the street towards the place they intend to hang out, and they see, like, the DJ they plan to hire, who's
Yeah.
doing the music at the wedding, smoking, like, heroin or something in a
Yep.
park,
Heroin. Yep.
in like, with a
Oh
group
no,
or
on
something,
the
and then,
side of a street with a group of people. Yeah.
yeah, on the side of the street, and they're like, "Oh, this is bad. Like, we
We
gotta,
gotta
like,
fire our DJ.
fire." Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they make a remark about how, like, "Oh, that's not bad. Like, it's not the worst thing."
Yeah,
And
when
then
they get
there's,
that
like,
replacement DJ later, I feel like they could have just cut that part of the movie out. It's so insufferable.
yeah, yeah. I don't like that moment. I think it
No.
was. In fact, the whole, I don't know what, maybe that was the only on the nose moment for me, when,
Right.
like, he fucks up and it sounds like a gun going off.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
was pretty wild. It got
that
me
was,
jump scared. Jump
yeah, it
scared.
got me jump scared. It got me jump scared.
It's like what the
But I
fuck?
thought they're really taking it to the next level, trying to, like,
And then showing you like flashes of what that wedding would look like with all the bodies
oh,
all like out. Like,
yeah,
is somebody gonna do something that they regret? And then
yeah, yeah.
before that. There's that impromptu sex scene
Mm.
when Robert Pattinson is can fighting in one of his coworkers about how like he doesn't necessarily say that his fiance was a planned school shooter, but like infers on it, and
Hypothetically, talks about it
yeah,
hypothetically. He suggests to this
hypothetically, yeah,
coworker, if
yep,
your partner planned to do this, what would you do? Would you call
right,
like he's trying to I think he's trying to rationalize. I think he's in denial. So
right,
what I really found interesting about the movie more than the shock reveal was how it starts to like you know crumble the dynamics they have in their relationship. Right,
right,
all of a sudden, a trust. You're at a point where you're about to get married, and it's almost like you just learn something you never ever expected about your significant other, and it just completely changes how you view them. And at first, he's like, I think he's in denial, or he's trying to downplay it and be like, oh, it's
not
maybe
that
you
big a
didn't mean it.
deal. She didn't do it.
She
Yeah,
didn't mean it. She didn't do it. We all do stupid stuff in life at some point. But then the more he tries to uncover the truth, and the more he starts to see like her behavior and some of the things, like for example the thing about her deafness. I think she mentioned to him that it was a childhood thing, but actually it wasn't. Like she wasn't born deaf in 1 year. It was because of this, that she held a rifle and shot it too close to her ear. So it's like stuff like that really erodes the trust or the faith he has in her, but in a way where he's actually kind of like so insecure, it's affecting his own like mental health. Like you could see
yes.
how he's like low key afraid of her, and it's like
Well,
freaking him
yeah,
out.
she comes at him with a knife, but she doesn't come at him with a knife. So so have you ever walked into a room, cooking something and you're talking to somebody while holding a knife? That's a little unsettling. You put down the goddamn knife.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
And then
comes
she
off.
does like a fake like I'm gonna jab you. You're scared of me?
Yeah, and I think he throws out a mug that had a gun on it or something, and then she
Yeah.
like,
Well, you can't really blame him for that. And then she
yeah.
overreacts about it. Yeah, it's the dramedy in it.
But it's stuff like that that really nitpicks. And this movie kind of reminded me of another movie called Force Majeure, which is directed by Ruben Östlund. I believe he covered his movie The Triangle of Sadness. Fantastic movie director, makes compelling dark comedies. And it's kind of got a similar vibe to it, where it's like, this family, they're in a ski resort in the Alps in Europe, and there's like they're dining outside in a restaurant in a fancy 5 star, and there's like an avalanche that starts to happen, and it really like affects where they are, like because they're also part of the resort is also part of the mountain or whatever, and everything's shaking around, and people are scared, and they're like all just trying to like get out. And you see the husband, because he has his wife and he has his kids. He just runs for his life. He just like, I think he runs for his life, abandoning his family or whatever. And I think it's just a fear response. It's just survival instinct, right? But still, the fact that he did that, and the fact that he didn't like, you know, ca- stay back or try to, the natural instinct would be to, if you care about someone, you'd want to protect them first, right? Like if something dangerous happened. But anyways, turns out the avalanche wasn't as fatal or as threatening as it seemed to have been, but it completely disrupts the trust between the couple, and it unfolds in this, it unfolds in a drama which is like very compelling to watch in a darkly comic way. So, I think it's interesting that this movie does something similar, albeit the themes, I mean the subject matter is a lot more serious here. It's revolved in something like that. But I like how it plays off the characters, and it doesn't like go too plot heavy. It really just shows you how like this relationship, starts to fizzle out in a way, and like how it affects both of them more than anything.
All right. And then they're wondering if they should still get married.
Yeah.
which can you really blame him? That is quite a bombshell. Now, I'd like
And
to
it leads
think,
to that point where it leads to that point you mentioned where he's like telling his coworker
and
Rob
then he's
Pattinson's
like,
character.
he kisses her and takes off her panties and decides, okay, I fucked up. What am I doing?
We can't tell anyone about this, and this is a
Yep.
mistake. Like he starts
Yep.
crying and she's trying to
Yeah.
comfort him.
Comfort him, and he takes that as trying to get with
Yeah,
him. Yeah.
get with her. Yeah, I
And
don't know what it
he's so fucked up emotionally. It makes sense.
oh, yeah, he is. He is. He's a wreck. But he plays his character really well.
Hmm.
I thought he was the
Yeah.
most entertaining like part about the movie. Just watching
Right.
him like go
Hmm.
through the ringer with this relationship.
And Zendaya does good too. You definitely can relate with
And
her.
how cringe was his wedding speech though?
That how many weddings have you been to, Adi? They're all cringe. Every one of them is cringe.
No, but this one was like,
Oh, he's off the cuff. He wrote a bunch of shit about how much he loves her, but then he second guessed himself because everything he knows about her is, for naught because, it's not she's not the woman that he fell in love with.
yeah, yeah.
That's why he's second
And
guessing himself. And
even the maid of honor, Rachel, gives a very passive aggressive speech,
yep.
and it's like super awkward, isn't it? Like the whole wedding.
And then though they get married and the wedding ends because a fucking fight happens.
Yeah, so like
The
the coworker, he kind of cheated, almost cheated, or kind of cheated.
Yeah, I
He
asked
cheated.
Maria, Did he cheat?" And she's like, "Yes,
I
yes,
think
he
so.
cheated."
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is. I think it is. I
yeah,
think it is.
and
It doesn't justify his action
yeah,
one bit.
right,
But yeah, the partner of his coworker,
yeah,
finds out and gets into
yeah,
a fight with him,
yeah.
which we
He
don't.
headbutts him, and it like breaks his nose, and he goes home in a bloody mess and drinks a little, and then hobbles all the way to the pizzeria or the restaurant or what have you. And then they sit
Yeah,
down, and Zendaya
diner.
eventually comes. Yeah, the diner, and then they
The diner where she like the whole preparation for the wedding's awkward because
mm,
she talks about, oh, we should like go to a diner, and it's our
right,
go-to place, and he's like, but it's a wedding and why would we do that? And then they're having like photos taken
yep,
by a professional, and it's super awkward, like they're getting a
mm-hmm.
test run. But yeah, and in the end, like he ends up going to the one place he thinks is like
Because she's
close
not
to her.
responding to his phone calls.
Yeah, yeah. And god damn it, now ever since Weapons, I
Yep.
can't stop seeing all the product placements. Fucking Diet Coke or Pepsi or
Well,
whatever the fuck
Adi,
it is.
for the love of God, don't watch a Transformers movie. That will run you up the wall. You think so? Product placement. Yeah, yeah. If you watch any of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, you'll start seeing Coke and like Starbucks everywhere, and you'll just get mad. See, I've come to terms with product placement is just going to happen in movies,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah, but
ignore it now.
at least be a bit discreet, like don't
Well,
be
like I said before in our previous review, it's
like
just when they say,
the guy is like he's literally drinking a Diet Coke, talking to his
you know,
coworker. And then he's literally going to the diner and he's ordering a Diet Coke. Okay, fine. Maybe his character just likes
he likes Diet
Diet
Coke.
Coke, but it's like you start seeing the logos and you're just like, man, they really had to sneak this in too. But oh well, I mean that's just me nitpicking, I guess. But don't pay attention to that.
Yeah, my
Watch.
nitpicks are the movie might have been a little too long. Like
Really, it's only
especially
105 minutes.
well, yeah, there's that one part with the DJ that I just cut completely from the movie. That second DJ completely cut. That was grating. It pissed me off. It was annoying. The first DJ is fine. Like the whole like plot with she's smoking heroin and he saw
You're a
her.
cunt.
Exactly. Yeah. And like that, I was just like, what's like whatever. And what'd you think of the ending? Do you like it?
I
I thought
kind
it was
of
all
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So I think the movie. picked a moment that was like really compelling to have a
Yep.
drama,
Mhm.
to have the drama on. No pun intended. But I feel like it kind of runs with it a bit too long. I feel like there could have been a bit more to the story that could have added some more depth. But end of the day, it's like, yeah, whatever. They reconcile, and I guess like every relationship goes through tests.
So,
Maybe this was a big test.
I just thought of
That
something. So I was talking to my girlfriend. She said Zendaya should have pantsed him at their wedding while he was
sure what?
floundering. She should have pantsed him because that was her joke, where she drops his pants
Oh
because
no.
he was floundering. He was fucking it up. She should have just did that at their wedding.
Oh,
Should have
bro, I
just
was
did it
actually looking at it. I was just thinking, like, what, like, I know it's awkward. I know, like,
because
you don't want to make it more embarrassing. But I was actually wondering, like, what circumstance do you actually get up and be like, okay, enough, like, don't say
right.
anything more. Um,
I've had a lot of situations where like that. So
really,
what ends up happening is I just get a finger over my lips, and then I realize, okay, I'm talking too much. I
dude,
need to stop.
have you ever seen the Hangover movies?
Yeah, yeah. They
You
get
know the
it's like
second, you know the second one where they're like in Thailand and
yeah,
Alan's like making a big speech about Stu, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you don't know Stu like me. We're a pact, like we're the Wolf Pack." And then he's like, "But this isn't his first wedding. In Las Vegas, he was married to a stripper." And that's where
yeah,
Bradley Cooper's character has to come up and basically like take him off and be like, that's enough, Alan. We don't say anymore. It's
yep,
such an awkward moment. I was just
yeah.
thinking in this movie, it just goes on, and you're like,
Right,
shit, surely somebody's gonna get up and
right. Shut him the
stop.
fuck up. Yep,
Yeah, yeah, because
enough.
he starts talking about like, oh, we have such great sex, and your laugh is
Right,
repulsive, and I don't know, it gets like really,
yeah.
gets
Well,
really
okay.
awkward.
So, do you have anything else to talk about the drama, or can we go into our second feature?
No, we can go into a second feature. Well, you asked me about the ending though. I thought it was all right. I thought it was
Yeah,
all
I thought it
right.
was all right too.
I like that it didn't go for like a cheesy Hollywood
Yeah,
ending.
yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't plan a rating for the drama, but I'd give it a out of out of
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know 7 out of 10 without thinking about it too hard.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a
Yeah.
7 too.
Yep. So what we originally planned for this recording was we were going to do Keanu. Did you have anything written for the intro
Yeah, I did.
to
I
do
did. So
Keanu? Awesome.
completely out of the blue. I don't even know why I picked this movie. I just wanted to do something offbeat and funny. Keanu,
Which
Keanu.
was a pain in the ass to like try to like look up how to spell because Keanu, I think it's supposed to be like ocean breeze or something in Hawaiian.
In Hawaiian.
Is that
How
what they
cool
said in
is
the
that?
movie? Yeah, yeah.
They say that in the movie, but it's directed by Peter Atencio, written by Jordan Peele and Alex Rubin,
Okay.
and stars Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, who,
Mhm.
if you guys are familiar with their work, before Jordan Peele blew up and became a famous horror
Movie
director, they used to do this show called Key and Peele,
Peel.
and it was
That's
almost like this kind of like a satirical skit show
yeah,
with a
that's what this
parody.
whole movie feels like. One just
Well, it is,
long
it is, it
Key and
is, it
Peele
is.
skit.
It's just one big skit come to life. But to give you a bit of a synopsis, recently dumped by his girlfriend, slacker Rel finds some happiness when a cute kitten winds up on his doorstep. After a heartless thief steals the cat, Rel recruits his cousin Clarence to help him retrieve it. They soon learn that a thug named Cheddar has the animal, and he'll only give it back if the two men agree to work for him. Armed with guns and a gangster attitude, it doesn't take long for the hapless duo to land in big trouble. So that's the synopsis of the movie. Uh, what do you think? Opening thoughts?
What the hell was the music in the opening scene? Like having seen this film before, I didn't remember that at all. Like it was very like dramatic. And oh my god, this kitten sounds like my cat Squeakers, who is also a domestic short hair and is a very common cat found in America.
I thought you'd like that
Yeah,
aspect
yeah.
because
And
you're
I'm
a
a
cat
cat
guy.
guy. I'm a cat dad.
You're a
I
cat dad.
I like this movie just because the cat is adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, the cat is super adorable. That was actually one of the main reasons why I picked this movie because I couldn't think of many other movies where a cat was this adorable. Sorry, Cats movie directed by Tom Hooper. That's still alien fucking disaster. I'd get nightmares if I ever watched that trailer. But no, Keanu, I mean, I'm sure I read they used like some 16 different kittens,
Yeah, yeah.
but
They all got adopted. All of them got
they all
adopted.
got how lovely is that? They all got
Yeah.
adopted by the set, but Keanu is so cute. He's this
Yeah.
cat. So Rel, played by Jordan Peele, he's kind of a I don't know. He's a loser.
He's a fuck up. Yeah,
He's a fuck.
yeah, he's a slacker. He's a pothead. He has nothing going for him.
No, he's going through a breakup, which his cousin Clarence is really secretly happy to hear because he thinks
He
I don't
didn't
know,
like her.
maybe he lost. He didn't like her, but
Yeah.
Clarence is like this super domesticated guy.
He
Would you
is a
say?
white black guy, is what he is.
Yeah,
He in fact, so there's a lot of N bombs in this movie, which
yeah,
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 that's kind of what you expected. It's not the first time we
yeah.
covered a movie with a lot of N bombs. Sorry to
Oh
bother you,
yeah,
but I was worried that I would slip while we're doing this review, but I don't think I'll have that issue. But
and
yeah,
even if it did, I'd edit it out.
appreciate it. You're a real one. Yeah, the cat gets catnapped with dramatic music, and Cheddar is played by what is he? He's a rapper, isn't he?
Method
It's
Man,
like
Method Man. His
Method
name's
Man. Yeah,
Method Man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with his work. Yeah, I've listened to a couple of Method Man tracks. And like I said, the storyline's an extended SNL skit. Some of it does kind of feel like improv. If you've ever watched like a Key and Peele sketch, they will both be playing like really over the top like versions of
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
And especially when Michael Key's character were Clarence, where puts on his black guy voice. I'm just like, okay, this is definitely one of their sketches, like
In
their
the movie,
sketch where they go like, where he's reading all like the kids' names, and he's reading their names wrong because he's incompetent.
yeah, I think they what happens is like once Rel adopts Keanu and they go hang out because Clarence's wife is out of town for the weekend, so they have a boys' night out. When they come back, Keanu's missing. Rel's a complete mess.
And his whole house is trashed.
Whole house is trashed, and the cops are like, yeah,
Not helpful.
you're not really gonna find him.
Yeah, the cat
And
probably
they're
ran away.
yeah, but Rel suspects his neighbor, who happens to be his weed dealer, played
Yep.
by Will Ford. He manages to uncover who the people behind robbery might be, and that leads them to this club, the strip club, right? That's where they go to find out where they think they can just buy Keanu back or whatever. But they go in with this like they think it's very straightforward for some reason. But then little do they know they're gonna get involved in real gang shit.
Yep. You boys, those Allentown ninjas.
Brothers, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we see the Allentown brothers in the opening because they're the ones who
Yeah, and
like
they're also played by Key and Peele, which
yeah,
if
they just look
set,
different.
yeah, they look different. They have wigs on, and
Yeah.
Michael Key with the wig on is really funny because he's really bald.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Notice I
Um
didn't say the N word. I said ninjas.
yes. Yes, you did. How very considerate of you.
How? Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah. I'm as white as they
and
get, my friend.
and
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? Yeah, they go
They,
into the strip club. It's super funny because like this guy, like you said, Clarence is like the most white black dude you'll ever
yeah.
meet,
Like
you know?
he doesn't speak jive. He doesn't speak street. Now, I'm from the cities where I live, and I can kind of slip into that where you talk with a lot of ebonics. Like you use a lot of like cuz and yeah, and when you talk to like a cool black guy, you kind of slip into that because it's code switching. It's all black guys are
Yeah.
really familiar with this. It's your job interview voice,
Yes. Yeah.
your customer
Yeah.
service voice. You go up a couple registers, you sound like a bitch. And you can't be
Yeah,
doing
it's
that
funny.
with all these thugs.
No, no, they can't walk in there and speak polite
No, they will eat
English.
you
They'll
alive.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny, like, a stripper just takes Clarence's wedding ring and goes away with it, and he's, like, protesting.
Yep.
And then, they, eventually they have to, like, be like, "Oh, yeah, we're from the hood too, we're Shark
Yeah.
Tank," and what's the other guy's name? Do you remember?
That's something stupid.
Catatonic?
Catatonic, yeah. Yeah. No,
Tectonic, sorry. Tec Tectonic,
tectonic.
Tectonic, and Shark Tank. What a crazy gang name, no?
Yeah. Well, they all have crazy names. High C,
Cheddar?
Cheddar. Oh yeah, he's
Cheddar like
money.
the
Yeah, money.
yeah, money,
Yeah, like
money.
the cheetah, the Chester, the cheetah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see why you picked this movie.
Bro,
It's a
this
nice laugh.
it's a nice laugh, it's a good time. Dude, it's just funny to see these 2, they're like baffling idiots
Right.
get themselves involved, and they actually run with it, the more they
Yeah.
go into it, the more they get into this gang shit, the more they're like, I mean, sure, I mean, suspension of disbelief, whatever, but it's funny,
Right.
like,
Yeah,
they
and
see
the
Keanu
jokes
there.
are fun, and if you like their type
They
of
see
humor, this
Keanu
is
there.
yep, the cat.
Cheddar has Keanu,
Yeah.
the cat, and, they can't just, like, pick him up and leave, and
All
when
right.
they offer to pay, he Cheddar isn't willing to part with Keanu for money.
He's a cute. This little homie's adorable.
Yeah. I like when they gave him a durag, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was and it is kind of wild how that cat would even wear that. I tried to put that shit on my cat, it'd freak out. My Maine Coon, on
Yeah.
the other hand, Lucifer, he probably wouldn't care. We put on like a onesie on him, he didn't care.
Ah, adorable.
Yeah,
And, I can't think of many movies that use in recent memory with real cats
right,
that manages to pull it off this well, you know?
right. Just be happy the cat didn't talk the whole movie.
The cat does speak. The cat does
Yeah,
speak
in
in a dream sequence.
yeah. So
And they actually
the
got Keanu Reeves to cameo and do the
yeah,
voice.
in between gun shooting movies,
Yeah. How cool is that? They got the
that's
real
awesome.
Keanu Reeves
He's in the
to voice.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah. And
it,
I don't think he was like he wasn't even aware of the movie. Like
no, not at all.
once the trailers were out, they kind of like ADR'd him into the movie because he expressed like once he found out, oh shit, they're doing this movie and
Yep.
it's not as shit as it looks. He actually wanted to like do the lines, and I
Hell
think
yeah.
that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I really like so this movie kind of made me nostalgic about like comedies in the early 2010s, like the Jump Street movies,
Yeah.
movies where like like these guys are undercover cops or whatever, and
Hmm.
they go in high school pretending to be high school. Here it's like these 2 dudes wanting to pretend they're like gangsters. They're the
Yep.
Allentown brothers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Pretty
movies like that.
similar.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
Buddy movies.
my dumb comic movie is super bad, but that's just because that's when I
Super
was a
bad. I
teenager.
mean,
Yeah,
that's a classic, man.
yeah,
That's yeah, that's as good as they come.
yep.
I mean, yeah. What do you think of the whole hysterics of them, doing gang shit, and they go to like Anna Faris's house and
Yeah, Anna
Clarence makes
Faris, that was the treat. Anna Faris, they even say it's that scary movie chick, Anna Faris. Yeah, and that's what I thought. That's the same thing I thought because that's the only thing I remember her from. And she's like a junkie, and they're there to sell her drugs. And I don't remember why I wrote this. I wrote LOL 1, 2, 3, 4, not too old. I don't know what I meant by that. It's probably one of the jokes that they had in that scene.
right, right. All this while I think Rel and High C are in the house trying to sell drugs to Anna Faris
Yeah,
as a job for Cheddar, while Clarence, I believe, is with the rest of the boys in the car,
yeah.
and he ends up making them fans of George Michael's.
Yep.
So that
This-
was a pretty funny scene.
yep. Very the whitest like singing ever. And then, they want to listen to hood rap because, that's what they grew up on. He's
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
this George
Then
Michael, his dad, he wasn't there. And he's a real hard guy.
yeah, yeah. And then he makes them listen to Father Figure, and
Yeah.
they're all
Like
bonding
they're
over
into
this.
it because they believe that he's, a murderer.
Yeah, and one of them gets a tattoo too,
Yeah, that's kind of
which is
wild.
pretty funny. But it plays off like a an extended skit. I mean, it's 100 minutes
It,
long. Does
yeah.
it feel overlong to you? Did it feel like
No,
it
not
dragged?
at all. No.
No. Was it the perfect like switch your brain off and
It
go along the
if
line?
you are taking this movie like in a non like comedic way, sure, it probably is too long. But Key and Peele skits are not longer than like 5-10 minutes. So when you're watching one of those skits, when you think about it, you're like, how long could they really make this joke go for? And then it just
Yeah,
becomes improv. And some of the movie
yeah,
does feel like improv, especially like the Allentown stuff when they actually like meet the Allentown guys and they're like
yeah,
being like held. That does feel like one of their skits. It really does.
yeah, yeah. It does. It does. It
Yeah.
totally does. I mean, yeah, I think it was a cool watch.
Yeah, and I believe them as the murdering psychopaths with their alter egos, the ones that they're playing.
Alan,
Yeah, with the wigs.
Shark Tank.
Well, yeah, well, not those. What I
Oh,
mean is when
Allentown
they're
Brothers.
playing the
Yeah,
Allentown guys, they did a great job because I believe that those are hard guys. Like I believe they're believable psychopaths that cut people's fingers off and put them around their neck, and they could have took that like really silly, and they didn't do that. I appreciated that they made them, these hard guys, and I had to double check if they were played by different actors. I had kind of like that one film, that Michael B. Jordan, where I had to check if he had a brother. Like they did a good enough job where I was wondering if it was different actors, like the
you know what?
wigs.
I actually paid attention to the way the movie was edited around those scenes where they're with the Allentown brothers. You don't see all of them together, obviously. Like you don't see the faces all four together because that wouldn't be
Right, that'd be weird.
realistic. But they shot it in a way it was just good enough to cover and make it seem like you know they're like the same, but without actually showing that they're not they're doubles here for this
Yeah,
for this scene or whatever. So it was fine. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that. I went along with it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny how they actually run with it for so long, and
mhm.
it's kind of yeah. You might argue it's kind of unbelievable how they can like,
Yeah,
but then turns out one of the gang members themselves was an undercover cop. So
yep, and that feels just like 21 Jump Street.
yeah, High C, played
Yep,
by Tiffany Haddish.
yep. Tiffany Haddish.
She's a
She's another stand-up comedian.
comedian. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in
Yeah,
a bunch of different movies, but yeah, she did a good job too. And
yeah.
then Lou,
I thought the romance with her and Reldo was kind of cheesy, but it is
yeah,
what it is.
definitely. But it's you don't really take this movie seriously. And even Luis
No, no.
Gomez shows up as Bacon Diaz.
Luis Guzman.
Act,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, it's the dad from Wednesday. Oh, okay. Why are you here?
Yeah, so he plays the drug lord whose cousin, I believe, owned Keanu. So once
Yeah,
they find
yeah,
so the third act is like this big explosive finale where they're doing like a trade-off or something, drop
right,
off. And yeah, his character sees Keanu Bacon, I believe, and he wants the cat because it's like a sentimental thing for the family
right,
because he thought they lost him. But Cheddar's unwilling to part with Keanu, so it results in a gunfight. An actual, it's kind of funny. It's kind of fucked up. I like the shootout scene though. It's funny that they actually
hmm
showed some violence that wasn't like played for laughs. It was played for laughs, but it was like they
right.
showed blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that was kind of fucked up funny,
yep.
fucked up funny. But
You
yeah,
got Trunk, Stitches, got all these goofy ass names. And I don't really have a problem with it. They're all believable in their own sense. You know, they're all hard ass guys.
Yeah, yeah. Makes me wonder what would be your gang name.
Thugnificent. No, I'm just stealing that from. So I there's this comic strip called The Boondocks, and
Okay.
it's like these like hood kids. Like one of them's a little bit more like rap coded, and the other one he's book smart. So Thugnificent is one of the rappers in that show, and they had like 3 or 4 seasons. The show is like really like over the top and like goofy comedy, and he is like this gangster that you find out is gay, and he's like kissing a guy, but he doesn't want his fans to know because that's not gangster to be gay. No,
Damn.
I'm sure I would make up some dumb shit on the spot, and it'd probably just be gothjon because I'm that lazy. Do you got a
gothjon works.
gangster? Yep, you got a gangster name already,
Me,
Adi? Yeah.
myself, I don't know. I really don't know. Never thought about it. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I'd have to think about it, to be honest. I don't have one.
I got one even more.
You got one for me? Yeah.
Um, no, I don't have one for you. I have one for me. I'd
Okay.
be Peppa, like Peppa, like green peppers.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Peppa.
Just like
Peppa.
Peppa.
Peppa
I
like
don't know.
Peppa Pig.
Yeah, yeah, I like Peppa Pig.
Uh, but I mean, what else did you think about the ending?
It's not bad. This film. It's not something that I am like putting like all my thoughts into. It's a nice, for lack of a better term, popcorn movie. You know, it's an easy watch. It's a silly, goofy movie that
And you know,
it.
this movie came out literally a year after the show ended. So
Okay,
Key and Peele ran from 2012
okay,
to
yeah, and
2015.
before them, Dave Chappelle, he had his show, and that they basically did the same thing as sketch comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
I really,
yeah,
really enjoy Dave Chappelle show. So, you know, I've seen tons of Key and Peele skits like the Timothy and just that dumb sketch. And then like the vampire one, that one's pretty goofy. Yeah,
yeah,
I like their stuff. I obviously I like Jordan Peele's horror movies because they're make you think. You know,
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
down.
what a turnaround though, right? To go
Right,
from
right,
like
right, right. Let all the comedy writers just direct horror. It'll be fine.
yeah, it's incredible to do that and then win an Oscar for writing Get Out and then making original horror movies that are like contemporary. And Keegan-Michael Key is still around. He's still
Yeah, he's
acting
still
in like
voice acting. Yep.
yeah, he's in plenty of roles. It's
Yeah,
good
I
to see.
remember him in Rick and Morty. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I I don't know if they'll ever collaborate again. It would be nice if they did at some point.
right.
Although I
Yeah,
think
in
Jordan Peele might be done with
yeah, he
comedy.
might
It
be too
wouldn't.
big now, but I could
Yeah.
easily see him doing it. In a 2017 AMA on Reddit, Jordan Peele stated that if we do Keanu 2, I promise it, we will have twice as many deaths as there are in John Wick 2.
I think there
Okay.
was like some comparison with John Wick because it's kind of similar, like
Well, a
meant
little bit, but
parody,
I think it's just
meant
because the
parody.
name of the movie is Keanu.
Yeah, yeah. They tried to make some comparisons.
Yeah, and it came out around that time that John Wick came out. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I think a year later. But yeah,
Yep.
it's. I mean, I think. Did you see the post credit scene?
Yeah, and I don't remember it, but I remember seeing it.
The Allentown boys wake up from their gunshots and drive off into the night.
Okay.
They didn't die.
No,
They
I was
survived.
too busy looking at the cute cat
Dude,
posters.
the calendar, the cat calendar, genius idea.
Yep.
Genius idea. To
Like
do
it's like
all the
famous movie
movie.
scenes. Yep. Like The
Yeah,
Matrix
yeah,
and
yeah. I love that. I love that.
The
It's pretty
Shining.
cool.
It's just this adorable cat.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of them got adopted, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
were named Catatonic.
Catatonic, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Tech-Tonic.
But
Shark Tank.
I like this movie. It's a dumb, fun laugh,
Yeah.
good vibes. It holds back on an era of movies that didn't take itself too seriously. I think now we're seeing too much shit that's like depressing. It's nice to watch stuff that's uplifting and fun and hopeful. That's why I mentioned Project Hail Mary because you know it's that kind of a movie that uplifts and tries to be hopeful. And I think that's not a bad thing. We don't always need to see like depressing and like dark stuff all the time. So I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10. You?
Okay. Keanu's a pretty funny movie. If you like adorable kittens, that's a plus. If you find Michael Key and Jordan Peele's comedy funny, you'll enjoy this one. This film felt like an extended Key and Peele sketch, like I've said a couple of times. Now, sometimes they can actually act, but I have no idea if they only just have a few characters nailed down, and it's just amusing to watch these characters deal with the situations of real life. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's just one big riff off. But that concludes our episode of the drama and Keanu. And yeah, is there anything else?
Don't have anything funny written. See ya, Space Cowboy.